Did you feel like you were getting sales from Instagram?
For sure. That's where most of my sales were coming because within those 4,000 followers, I had these wonderful clients that became collectors of nuggets. They're just this sweet community of people who kind of see my vision as far as how great these are to not only have in your own home, but to give as gifts and to share with others for any reason. I've had people give them as, you know, congratulations on your baby or your wedding, and I'm sorry for the loss of someone you love.
Welcome to the Josie Lewis Show, where it's artist to artist chat about making art and selling your art. I'm Josie, a full-time artist who thinks artists should get paid. One thing I really enjoy is talking to artists for my membership, Art Revenue Coaching. Inside ARC, there are tons of resources, not the least of which are monthly Q&As with me and sometimes one-to-one coaching. When ARC first started a few years ago, Deb Oots was one of my first members, and I was there to witness the very beginning of a new passion project that she was starting, the Nuggets. You're definitely going to want to check those out, so please go look her up. Over the years, Deb has been making consistent daily Instagram posts, and she has been slowly growing her audience and making decent sales. A couple weeks ago, she picked up a year-old video that, listen to this, she had already posted 4 times to Instagram. She reposted it, and it went viral. That video got over 6 million views. It tripled her followers. In this conversation, we talk about what that looked like on the back end and how she is strategizing her future sales with this influx of new fans and attention. This conversation was really fun, and while talking to Deb, I did manage to literally cry tears of joy because that's the kind of girl I am. If you're an artist that wants to capitalize on the power of Instagram, you should download my free guide, 7 Habits of Successful Artist Instagrammers. It's completely free, and it'll help you grow your Instagram channel. You can get it at www.josielewis.com/habits. And now, my conversation with Deb Oots.
Hello, my friend Deb. How are you doing? Thanks for
Hello,
joining
I
me.
am well. I'm so happy to be here.
I've known you for a little bit because you were part of my art revenue coaching program. You're a VIP, so I got to chat with you back then and get to know a little bit about your business and what you make. And back when I
Almost
met
2 years
you,
ago.
2 years ago, yep.
2 years, yeah.
2 years. And when I met you, you had just pivoted your business to make the Nuggets. So can you talk a little bit about the Nuggets and what that is and how it came about?
That was such a transformative time for me, and I feel like I was led to you right at that time because you helped me clarify like so many things that my brain was just kind of in this jumble. But my story was I had been building a cross stitch business on Etsy, like making patterns and selling needle minders. And I didn't really put much thought into it. But then over the course of like 2 years, it grew to be like a pretty substantial source of income for my family. I started realizing like, I don't really want to continue moving in this direction. I would rather, like create original art that comes from me instead of just taking something else somebody else has created and cutting it out on wood. I mean, it looked really cool and it was great, but I just really had a desire to create my own things. Earlier that year, cashed in this like gift card my husband had gotten me years before for a month at a pottery studio in our town. I mean, I just was hooked. I treated that month because I wanted just to get all the value out of it that I could. I treated it like my job. So when they opened, I was there and I was at work for, the hours that they were open. And I just kind of soaked up everything I could. And I looked around my house and I had about the half of 3 different bags of clay at my house. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to worry about business stuff or anything today. I'm just going to make something that like the sole purpose of this thing is going to be to bring me joy. And I I sat down and I have a glow forge. And so I drew out some little smiles and I cut them out of wood, made little stamps. And I just started stamping just little balls of clay. And I kid you not, like the immediate change in my heart when that first like little face came together was like, it was just such an amazing experience. I look back on it now and I can tell like in that moment, my life changed, which sounds very dramatic. But
well, I want to jump in here for a second. For those of you that are listening and you have not yet met a nugget, I would like to describe it. It's like a sort of a fist-sized rough shape of clay. It's just like kind of you must shape it with your hand, and then there's a smile like imprinted into it, and you put eyes on them, right? There's some sort of eyes. Yep.
But I just use a needle.
Right. They're radically simple. They're so simple. They carry joy in them, even though they're so simple. And so I love to have the story of the origin of the nuggets, because it's not like she workshopped it for 15 months and, had all these architectural drafts and then built it. And it was very complicated. It's like she formed this thing with her fist and put this imprint in it, and it became this whole line of work that you've now been working on for 2 years.
My husband came home that night and I remember having one. And when I first made them, they were pretty small. So like he came home and I was like, look at this. Look how awesome. And I was just like giggling and like on the verge of hysteria, right? Because I like all of the feelings and emotions, but the rest of that week, I stayed home and I made nuggets out of all of the clay I had in the house. I probably made close to 300 of them. Like I just could not stop. And pretty much now that is what I do. I make nuggets. So I think it was like right around that time, I had my first phone call with you. And I remember asking you, I have this one business that I'm doing, and then I have this kind of new thing, and I'm trying to incorporate them and do them together, but they're, it wasn't very easy to do that. And I remember you telling me, well, what does your heart want to do? And that to me was such like a radical notion to think about and incorporate like into my business. Well, obviously I want to be doing this and going in this direction. And that phone call, like it gave me such clarity and changed the course of my business. So yeah, I now feel like I've rambled for so long, I can't remember what you actually asked me.
I mean, what you just said it's such an honor to be like, my eyes are tearing up a little bit. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, so amazing. To have had any impact in you at all, like that's really beautiful. I am legitimately crying. You guys, I am such a softie. I cry at everything. So here I am just like, oh, the beauty. So, okay, let's fast forward. So you've been working on the nuggets for 2 years, and I scrolled through your Instagram feed and you've been making videos of nuggets for that whole time, pretty much.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, just for reference here, you have a modest following, it's probably under 10,000 people, right? That follow you.
So before things went crazy over the last 2 weeks, I had been basically feeling like I was clawing and working so hard for every follower I had. And I had not yet hit 4,000.
Okay.
After, years. And I feel like I'm one of those people that I'm like, okay, I can figure this out. I can figure out Instagram. Let's do it. So I'm like always researching. I was posting like reels every day for over a year. I did that. Worked really hard to be consistent, to make funny and engaging content. And still, it was like I would gain 5 followers and lose 15, right? Type of thing. So yeah, that's where I was about 2 weeks ago.
So pausing there for a moment.
Okay.
Did you feel like you were getting sales from Instagram?
For sure. That's where most of my sales were coming, because within those 4,000 followers, I had these wonderful clients that became collectors of nuggets. They're just this sweet community of people who kind of see my vision as far as how great these are to not only have in your own home, but to give as gifts and to share with others for any reason. I've had people give them as, congratulations on your baby or your wedding, and I'm sorry for the loss of someone you love. Great group of people engages with me on Instagram, follows me, and then they're always like the first ones to buy stuff when I do a drop.
I have recently been thinking a lot about this idea. A lot of times I talk to artists and they're like, well, I'm able to sell work, but it's only to friends and family. And I just want to sell to a stranger. And what you're describing there, that most of these people probably are strangers to you, right? You haven't met them. So, but what's happening is your strangers on your Instagram are becoming your friends and family, even though, you don't necessarily know them. You don't text each other or something, but they are.
Although I do have a few.
Oh, really?
That have over the year. My phone number. Every once in a while, I guess.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
So I guess, my point is just we as artists, we have the privilege through social media and some other ways to create a community of friends and family, because friends and family are the only people who buy our work, ever. So we just need to widen our circle of friends and family. So it sounds like that's what you did. And you really have very deep relationships, because someone who buys once from you is much more likely to buy again. So you've discovered that.
Yes, for sure. The nuggets are very easy to love, right? And so as soon as I kind of get people on board, I've noticed that it's also very easy for them to share it, and that kind of widens my community and my little circle.
It's a testament to your belief in the nuggets. Like you are like, I'm going to keep doing this, like this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to keep posting and I'm going to keep carrying on. And so it's a tremendous amount of consistency, which I really admire.
I feel like from the very beginning, I've said that exact same thing. I've told my husband, like, I believe in this little creation so much. Like it's kind of given me the feeling like I'm standing on the edge of something. And I know it's going to be great. I don't know exactly what it is. It's just going to be amazing. I don't really know how to get there. I just I'm ready. I'm ready for the greatness. And I believe that these little things are going to be what gets me there. Like it's kind of just been a very interesting feeling, but I still feel that way. Like they're going to go places.
And you're giving them, you're an advocate for them. So you're bringing them to the marketplace, because of your belief. You're saying, okay, I've made these things and now I'm going to promote them and I'm going to show people them as much as you're able, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward.
Okay.
There was a video that went viral. So it's now at almost it's over 6 million views, I think, a lot of views. And it's a great video. And I'll put the link to it in the chat. Or in the comments so people can look it up. But it's kind of a stop motion video of the nuggets getting their smiles, and it's super duper cute. And it's using that 9 to 5 Dolly Parton song, which is great. And it really blew up. So let's talk about that. How did that happen?
Every once in a while, I'll go back through and repost these videos that I made. So that video I actually made probably over a year ago. And this is probably like the 4th time I've reposted it. I spent some real time finding the perfect song this time. I was paying attention to what was trending, and I was really paying attention to something newly trending, right? So I think when I found that song, it was still under 10,000 uses. A personal viral for me would have been over 50,000. I had never had any video get more than 50,000 views. And so it started going, and my husband was like, let's celebrate. And it hit 100,000 views. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Let's celebrate again. And then all week, well, let's celebrate. You hit 1 million. And so it just like didn't stop. And I was a little bit nervous when I first was like, okay, this is popping off. So it's getting crazy. But I remember you talking about how viral videos, always like bring out the haters as well. And that's not something I've ever had to deal with on my account. And so I was like kind of bracing myself for what am I going to have to deal with? But honestly, it was the best week because I had like all the comments in the video were like things like, oh, I needed to see this today. This just brings me so much happiness. And I had people actually messaging me saying things like, I just want to send you this love note that I just found your art and it's so amazing. And it brought me so much happiness. Like, so that part of it was like such an incredible experience to just see that these are, reaching more people, but also just the effect of the happiness that they're spreading. I loved that.
Yes, that's so cool. Yeah. And there really weren't, because I checked your comments too, because I was like, what can you possibly say bad about the Nuggets? And there was a good one, which you handled so well. The comment was something like, this is toxic positivity. What if they want to be sad? And your reply was, they signed up for the smile line.
Yeah. Some nuggets are sad. I do make sad nuggets that are used in therapy, for therapists that work with children, especially. And so, yeah, there are sad nuggets out there, but I'd like to think that I'm not forcing them all to put a fake smile on their face.
They're electing the smiles. Yes. It was brilliant. It was so good. It was so light.
I don't know if you saw after I posted that, she responded and she said something like, well, at least they're getting to choose. Those funny things. So I'm like, all right, if this is the level of hatred I have to deal with, I'm okay with that. It's all right.
So now, so that you've had this video that was a month ago or so,
2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks. Okay. So, and then what happened with your account? Any big changes? Anything happening?
So yeah, my views or my followers went from like, I was almost to 4,000. And as of today, I'm almost to 12,000. So lots of new followers, which has been awesome. I noticed that all of the reels kind of around that one that I posted over the last month or so, the views on those went up. So that made me happy that people were kind of checking me out, checking out the nuggets. And then my shop, it happened over the course of about a week, but everything that was left in my shop sold. So that was really awesome. My next drop is next week. So there were only like 40 things in my shop at the time, but those sold. And I'm really interested to see how my drop next week goes.
How do you promote your drops?
So I basically do everything on Instagram. The week before, I have like a big drop week celebration, basically. So I'll get into my stories and post. I do previews every single day. So I split up like I'm preparing. You can see this is my list of all the new kinds of nuggets that I'm going to list. I split them up and, each day I preview 3 or 4 of the kinds and put reminders up, kind of explain how it works. Like I'll have to do that very intentfully this time around because I have so many new people. So I'll, explain all of that. I usually the Monday, my drops are usually Friday at noon. And so the Monday before I'll also start a giveaway. So I started doing that maybe like 8 or 9 months ago. And in the beginning, it worked really well. People would share it and I would it helped get new followers. I also drove people to my newsletter to sign up for that. And, but as the months have gone on, that has the amount of people that engage with that has just slowly gone down. So I was actually rethinking doing it this time, like maybe not doing it and figuring out something else I can do. But I feel like with all the new followers, it might be good to do a big one, like maybe give away $200 worth or something, like where people can really get excited and want to share it. So I'm going to keep trying that and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. And I do think you are onto something there with like the impact of the giveaways does kind of go down. I do them occasionally, but I probably don't do more than 3 or 4 a year because I want to make them really, really special. And I don't want it to just be like, oh, more giveaways, it's kind of like, so I think that you kind of stumbled on that yourself. However, because you have 8,000 new followers, I think now would be a great time to do it because they've never seen that before. Right. And another thing that you could try that would be interesting would be I've done this before where it's like tag a friend that would love the nuggets and both of you can win $50 or $100 or whatever whatever the credit is that you want to give. And then that way you have more people, just more makes more. So that could work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited to kind of do what I normally do. And it's all just going to be more data coming in, right? That I can take and learn from. I've noticed that the pattern is on drop day, I make a bunch of sales, but in between I make maybe like $300 to $500 worth of sales over the course of the month. And those are just kind of trickling in. And so for me right now, it's worth it just to kind of leave it up there. And
you get the best of both worlds because you get to have the launch plus, the spontaneous purchasers or someone who just discovers you, or you go viral and then they're like, well, I want something right now. I had an acrylic video go viral probably around the same time. It was, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I don't have anything available. I'm just like, oh shoot. And it takes me a while. It takes a while to make them. And then, for you too, you have to kill and fire them and, so I'm doing my drop, this weekend, which I guess maybe is a little before yours. Yeah. So I'm going to do a drop on Saturday. But I don't know it, the momentum might be over. So we'll see what happens.
I know. But I feel like for me, I feel kind of okay because I do have such a loyal fan base in the idea of them having to like fight with others over things. I'm like, I don't want them to like have to do that. It's great as an artist to have people fight over your stuff, but I still am pretty concerned over my people, right? That like fight for me every time. We'll see. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Okay. Well, amazing. Deb, so great to hear the story of the nuggets. Can you tell us all where to find you?
Yes. So on Instagram, I'm at Wild Rainbow Co. So just Wild Rainbow CO. And then same on Etsy.
Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Hey, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks so much for being with us today. And I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Deb. I sincerely hope that you go check out the nuggets at Wild Rainbow Co. on Instagram or Deb's Etsy channel and see what all the fuss is about because they will brighten your heart and your day. Thanks for spending this time with us, and I'll see you in the next episode.